All right, I am being told we are about ready for Beatmania, so I am going to turn it over to Okapi, and let's finish off this rhythm block strong.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm Okapi, and I've been playing this game for probably longer than some of the audience has been alive, closing on 18 years at this point. And I have my good friend Jamich with me to help out with commentary. So I will let him introduce himself real quick while I double check the last things.
Hey everybody, I'm Jamich. I've also played this game off and on for about 16 years. So hard to play rhythm games and talk at the same time, so I'll kind of be guiding you through what's going on as you see thousands of notes falling on screen.
Yeah, so this is not going to be like a showcase of like super high level gameplay because I'm not a super high level player. I just very recently hit the second to last rank. So I still have a very long way to go because that's like a vertical skill wall to climb. So we're just gonna kind of go through and show off some of the musical diversity in the game. There's a lot of really good artists that have contributed music into this game over the years, like Hideki Naganuma, very well known for doing the Jet Set Radio OSTs, working on whatever his new game is, Cyber Rush Bomb Funk, whatever. The internet's favorite uncle, so let's get into it.
Yeah, the 50-year-old Japanese man who posts like a 25-year-old American man. This is Beatmania 2DX, or 2DX for short. It's been around since 1999. It's a direct outgrowth of the original Beatmania, which is a 5-key game, but supplanted it. Much more popular, and it's been going on for 29 versions in the arcade at this point. Gameplay is pretty typical for rhythm games because it kind of defined most of them. You got the falling notes when they hit the bottom, you hit the keys. There's the best judgment you can get is called a flashing great, and you'll see it's kind of that pinkish hue that kind of floats between colors, and that's a 2-frame timing window to get that judgment. The next best is the yellow great, which is about like 4 frames. I think it varies from song to song. They actually have configurable timing per song, so they're not all equally easy. Then there's goods, which is kind of an intermediate judgment. Then there's bads and poors, which are going to be combo breaks. We're going to hope to see relatively few of those. Listen to the music for a bit. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see the running total of judgments over the course of the song, and it's going to contribute to the final score at the end. It's 2 points for each P great or flashing great, 1 point for each great, and you need 8/9 of total possible to get the AAA, which she did.
And we got the good ending. Love did save us. Cool bed. Very good song. Unfortunately, it's the only Hideki Naganuma song in all of 2DX. But he does have songs in a couple of other Sega rhythm games. Shunitham has a bunch of his older stuff. Concept of Love isn't Shunitham, and it's a very good chart.
Do I have time to sneak in a donation that came in real fast?
Absolutely.
I have an $81.93 donation from Non-Binary Code saying, I did the thing, which puts us at $2,000.
Very nice. Thank you for that donation. That's awesome. Alright, moving right along.
So, Okapi is doing single play right now, which is 7 keys and 1 turntable. I know she's also dabbled in double play, which is on an arcade machine. There's 2 sets of controls side by side, and they're mirrored, so the right side of the cabinet has 7 keys and another turntable off on the right. In double play mode, you use all 14 keys and both turntables. I'll be honest, I've seen people do this. I've seen Okapi do this. I've seen Shinji in chat do this. I don't know how they do it. I can't move my fingers like that, but this game is notorious for having top-end difficulty. Unfortunately, it is not beginner-friendly. It does not have a learning curve. It has a learning cliff. The song we're playing here, we're looking at a level 10 out of 12. But the levels, it's not like a linear progression of levels. It's kind of logarithmic, or kind of exponential, the opposite of what I just said. So like 11s are kind of like twice as hard as 10s, and 12s. 12 is a dumping ground for everything harder than a certain point gets called 12, and there's such a wide range of 12s. So the players have had to develop their own tier charts for figuring out which 12s are at what level, because the easiest 12 to the hardest 12 is probably further apart than 1s are to 12s.
Casual Marathon PB will take it. Touching again on the difficulty numbers, as best we can tell, the difficulty number is based on average notes per second, so the average density of the chart, but we don't know that for sure, because there are definitely songs that are outliers as far as that goes. It really doesn't make any sense. It is a very difficult game to learn and get into. But Konami tries to make it as easy as possible to play the game. Like, the game wants you to play it, it's just gonna make you work for it. Like, there's a lot of features, especially in the arcade version, that make it really easy to kind of pick up the game and like slowly ramp your way up. Very good example of that being step-up mode, which a lot of people who have access to arcade machines and play the game a lot will run through it once a version, just because it's there and it's fun. Alright, Dirty Androids time. I forgot to switch to my good mic. We want the good key taps.
Dirty Androids showed up in 2DX, kind of, I want to say around Sirius, so kind of halfway. Sirius still feels new to me because I played so much on the PS2, but it itself is like 15 years old at this point, and it kind of brought House back to 2DX, and we thank them for it. So this is going to be the first song with charge notes, which are long notes that you have to hold, and unlike a lot of rhythm games, you have to actually release charge notes with timing as well. They are judged once when you hit them at the beginning, and once when you release them at the end. And if you release them early, you're just done with them. You can't go back and hit them and try to get the end at that point. There we go. There's one of those charge notes. And Okapi is playing on random, which is a very common thing among mid to high tier players. It shuffles the columns around. So if there's a bunch of notes that used to be on 1, all those notes get like moved into column 5. We count the columns by numbers left to right. Turntable is just turntable, but it's 1 to 7. But all the notes in one column get moved around, so the patterns still have some semblance to their original patterns, but it mixes them up among your hands. And this is often used to help yourself learn new patterns that might not be readily available at the difficulty you're playing at, which helps you bridge the gap into higher difficulties more easily. We also have SRAN, which actually puts each note in its own column randomly, which really messes up the chart, and this is used either for showing off or for some particularly ugly charts that are really jackhammer heavy, lots of notes in the same column, sometimes you want to break them up. 9 off PB, we'll take that.
Yeah, a little ugly with the charge notes. Random can sometimes make charge note patterns really tricky to hit. Like, and it's probably my biggest weak point as a player is dealing with randomly placed charge notes. Typically, with heavy charge notes, I will turn off random and just play it the way that God intended, but not every time. Now, like I said, not super interested in showing off a lot of super high-level content today. If you want to watch me beat my head into hard stuff, you can just go watch me on my personal channel, and it'll probably not be very entertaining, because it's all, like, failing forward, as we call it in the community. But there's a lot of, like, there's really no other way to put it, and I think Jamish will agree with me. There's a lot of really special stuff in this game, like musically, that it's kind of hard to nail it down. This is one of my absolute favorite songs that's ever been in the series. Like, it's kind of, shoegazy electronica, like very, introspective, existential lyrics, and like lots of atmospheric effects. Like, it's a really pretty song. Eel is one of my favorites.
This is a great song to show off some of the depth of music in the game. And this is one of the older songs in the set list. It's from Ninth Style. Again, we're on number 29 at this point. Ninth Style had a lot of interesting stuff. It had a gospel song. We've got, like, there's a lot of electronic, but it's not all electronic. I was talking about modifiers, so I can take a moment here to explain a few more of the options you have available. So if you look above the notes, you'll see about a third of the playfield is covered up by a picture coming down. That is called Sudden Plus. It's an adjustable cover to reduce or control the amount of note lanes that you see. Typically in falling note rhythm games, you want to set up the timing of the notes so that you see them appear and you react by the time they hit the bottom. So having a customizable lane cover like that lets you actually position, get that window exactly the height that works for you, and the speed at which the notes fall is also entirely customizable, so you can get a setup that really works for you. Back in my day, we literally would put a physical towel over 2/3 of the screen on some songs in order to replicate this effect, and Konami eventually did us a solid and just put it directly in the game. There's also something called Lift, which lets you do this from the bottom instead of the top if you want to tilt your head up a little more rather than looking down, which matters more in the arcade because you can move your own monitor around. You can't really move the arcade monitor around. And yes, also high speed. You control the control the speed of the notes, and way back in my day, this used to be fixed. These days, it's incredibly variable, and you just lock in what speed you want to play at, and the game calculates it for you automatically. You can see on the bottom 3.61, which is obviously not a very round number.
All right, we'll take the full combo.
So I got time to sneak in a couple donations real fast?
Absolutely.
All right, I've got two of them for you. I got a $15 one from Bad Black Shark that says, best of luck. Just hit the buttons at the right time. How hard can it be? And I got $50 from Dashneer that says, thanks again for having me out to support FFFFAB. As promised, here's $25 per hit. Wait, I only got hit once? Finger must have slipped. Chat is cute. Good luck with Beatmania.
Yeah, don't mind me setting my missions real quick. Like, they're here, I may as well use them. Even though I don't need the bits, I have the game fully unlocked, there's really nothing left to grind for. This is going to be a significant step up from what we've seen before. So far in terms of difficulty, we're jumping all the way up to an 11. It's on the easier side of the 11s, but it's still an 11, so we're going to see a lot more density, a lot more fast patterns. The BGA has one of my favorite characters in the series, Acti Aries. She shows up in a lot of songs that have a like really fast, peppy vibe to them. There's like 5 or 6 songs that she shows up in, and her outfit's great.
She's the Ram girl, so she shows up in a lot of Ram songs. So yeah, this song is by superheroine Ayaka. Since Okapi showed the missions, I thought I'd take a moment to talk about Infinitas and as compared to the arcade version. So this is the official PC client for Beatmania, best known as an arcade game. Also had a bunch of releases on the PS2. That's a little harder to come by today, and you can definitely still play them, but it's a little gets trickier as time goes on. The PC client, you can play it. It's intended for Japanese players, but you can play it with an American credit card or a Western credit card. The interface is still going to be in Japanese, but we have guides available for it. I don't know if you allow links in chat, but if you do, I'd love to see, like, say, Shinji post it for me. I don't know if you allow links in chat, though. But the missions allow you to earn bits, which are the currency used to unlock the charts. Many of the older charts are available with unlocks. It's a bit of a grind, but they don't cost extra. Now, a lot of the newer songs they charge for song packs. So it's like about $60 or so for 30 songs, and there's like 30 song packs. Maybe not that many, but the price adds up. So it does look like you disallow links. So if we can, maybe a mod can step in and someone can whisper that to a mod. The link to the Infiniticon, which would be the definitive guide to getting started with Infinitas. There's a few other options if you'd like to get started. I'll save those for the next song.
Random gave me some really ugly patterns in the bridge. Did not enjoy that. But that is the price that you pay for playing on random. Still got the AA, which is still the bare minimum of what should be expected of someone at my skill level. Like, we do have tools that kind of help us to figure out, like, roughly where you should be scoring. And it helps a lot to kind of track your progress and stay kind of in the range where you're comfortably pushing your limits without overwhelming yourself. It's very easy to get in over your head. Shinji and I actually talked about this on a regular basis. Like, there comes a point where you're no longer failing forward and you're just kind of beating your head into a wall without actually getting anything meaningful accomplished. And it's frustrating, it wastes your time, it really burns you out. But enough about that. We're gonna go say hi to that boy.
Here we've got Lower World, another classic 2DX song from Ninth Style. The artist is DJ Setup, which is an alias for DJ Taka, who has, by my count, produced approximately 27 billion songs for 2DX over the years. If you're familiar with DDR and Naoki, he is equally prolific. So I mentioned the home version. This game is also well known for being an arcade game. The access to the game for a long time was extremely difficult outside of Japan. It's gotten a little bit better these days. Round 1 arcades in the US do have access to official cabinets on the official network, and they did a hardware refresh in the last 2 or 3 years. Which we got 120 hertz, so we got a better frame rate, which helps when the timing is so tight. There's also independent arcades that have cabs as well. You'll have to seek those out on your own. Round 1 is the easiest way to get access to that. Okay, I've got a question in chat. What's the bar above score about? So that is your light gauge, or as they call it, groove gauge. It starts at 22%, And in order to pass, you have to get it above 80, and you have to keep it above 80 at the end of the song. A lot of 2DX songs like to do this thing, though, where they throw a pile of notes at you at the end in order to entice you to end the song at 78% and fail. We love that, and we call it a 2DX ending. There's also several alternate settings you can put this on. You can put it on easy, which means you gain life faster, lose it slower. There's assisted easy, which moves the pass mark down to 60% from 80. Then there's hard and EX hard, which give you a bar that starts full, but if it ever completely empties, you lose the song.
Yeah, we actually almost just saw the 2DX moment right there. I am notorious in my friend group for being very bad at one-handed rolls and trills. And of course, the random decided to give me one at the very end. It happens. Go ahead and throw on a new mission. And we're jumping into another one of my favorite songs, which is actually a remix of a song from, I think, Beatmania's second mix. So it's a remix of a much older song. And I cannot find it? Question mark? Let me double check the spelling on. I will circle back. Jamish, can you jump on Rummy Wiki and figure out what folder OD20 is in for me?
Cannonballers?
Is it Cannonballers? Because I know it's in the game. Whatever. If you can figure out where that's living for me, because it should be here, we'll just move on down the set list. Like, I swear I played it in Infinitas before. I could be wrong. But
It's definitely an Infinitas. Just check the letter folder next time you go through.
Yeah, I will. That's fine.
So here we have a song by, that name is pronounced Hummer. It's Hitomo Hamada, so it's a play on Hummer, but every time I see that Sigma, I want to read it Husser. So that's a relatively new artist to beatmania, as in the last 7 or 8 years. But they've been contributing a lot of stuff lately. So I'm going to take a moment to point out the pacemakers. Above the hand cam, there are 3 bars going up, and the leftmost bar is the score on the current play. The second bar in green is going to be Okapi's PB, and the third bar is customizable. You can set that to be a number of things. It looks like she has it set to a grade pacemaker right now, which that's what if you look at the number that says target, and I'm seeing plus 140-ish, that's what the target is comparing to. So she is currently 140, 160 points ahead of an A grade. And that is going based on the score on the bottom, which is, again, 2 points for a perfect grade, flashing grade, and then 1 point for a regular grade, and everything else is not worth points. The scoring system is just absolutely brutal. And the grades are subdivided into ninths, so a triple A is anything 8 ninths or better.
That was a mean random. I had to match through a couple of those patterns because it's stuff I've never seen before. Again, it's the risk you run playing with random. I truly don't understand. Oh, you know why I couldn't find it, Jamish? Because I was looking in the 11s folder and it's a 10.
Yeah, it's an 11 on DP. I think that's probably where it came from.
That is what I was thinking. Because I can play into 11s on DP. Very low level 11s, very easy ones, mind you. I can't play into DP 11s without too much trouble. So yeah, this is a remix. Good.
This is a very good remix. Again, a classic Beatmania song, a throwback 20-something years. this point, I will take a moment and talk about some similar note smashy games if you like this, but setting up a Japanese client or finding an arcade sounds a little bit tricky. Very similar games available on Steam include DJ Max, Respect V, and Easy 2 On. The both falling note games built for keyboards rather than special controllers. You definitely can play this game on a keyboard if you choose. It won't be the exact same experience, but many people get started that way. There's also a fan community for a simulator game called B Music Source, or BMS for short. That's the file format. The current client is called Beta Raja. There are resources available for this. The content skews on the high end of difficulty, but they've increasingly focused on making sure there is accessible content to build yourself up. I just want to give you a chance to actually listen to this. This is fire.
Minus 16. Oh, that's gonna haunt me. Like getting that close to the AAA and not quite making it is like...
Yeah, but plus 90.
It's so painful. It's a huge PB. Like, I can AAA that. Like, if I sit here and shuffle a couple of randoms around, like, I'll eventually get one that will give me some nice slappable patterns. Alright, if we got any Diesel Boy fans out there that like Diesel Boy brand of drum and bass, this one's for you.
LED, another longtime beatmania artist, focuses more on the techno side of things, and he has a very distinct sound, which I personally love. So he's one of my favorite artists in the in-house stable. But I think this would be a good time if we have any announcements or anything to read.
I've got no new donations at the current moment, but I do want to remind you we are raising money for a very good cause in Midwest Access Coalition. Type !charity in chat if you want to learn more about them.
Okapi mentioned at the beginning of the stream that she is Chuda, and that's the second highest rank in this game's class mode. It's based on basically martial arts belts. So there's first dan through 10th dan, and then there is Chuden and Kaiden, which are the top two levels they added. Not recent at this point, like 15 versions ago, but for a long time 10 dan was the peak, and then they added Chuden and Kaiden, and the gap between those latter two is actually really, really huge too, so. Take me out. I'm not super familiar with this one because it's on the newer side, and I got most of my training done in the old CS days. But even Chuden is a course full of mostly the mid-tier 12s, and then Kaiden asks you to do a few of the absolute hardest.
Yeah, just like to throw a mild correction on that. Kaiden was introduced in Distorted, which was the 13th arcade version of the game. Chuden came with Copula, which is the 23rd version. So at this point, they've both kind of been in the game for a while. Kaiden hasn't changed very much since it was introduced. Chuden changes a lot, but at this point they're both relatively old additions to the game. But that's like end game stuff. How does the alphabet work?
I saw you go past it already.
Is it at the top of S?
I think it was at the beginning of S.
Yes, it was. Yeah, speaking of the class mode, this is sick. It has been, up until very recently, the boss song of 8th Dan. It recently got replaced by Starlight Dance Hall, which we're not going to be playing today. If you've played a lot of DDR, a lot of Konami rhythm games, there's a lot of samples taken from other songs. Eagle songs are like that. Like, he's very cheeky, and like if it's on his shelf, he will sample it. It's very good.
Eagle, an alias for Kosuke, another extremely prolific beatmania artist. Yeah, 8th Dan is about my stomping ground, so I'm kind of used to having to get this. There's a little thing in the arcade game where clearing 8th Dan lets you actually start to access some of the harder songs in your first stage, otherwise you're locked to easier stuff. So whenever a new version comes out, first thing I do, go clear 8th Dan, unlock the ability to play harder stuff in first stage. So kind of got used to this one a little bit, and then they changed it out. I really like Starlight Dance Hall though, so I don't think it's a bad change.
Oh, it took my microphone with it too. Bear with me just a moment, y'all. Need this. I really need to purchase Velcro to keep my stuff on my desk. Hopefully I didn't jostle the hand cam out of alignment.
Knocking stuff over during rhythm games is the real struggle. That and not scratching your nose.
Yes. I literally only play the Dirty of Loudness in marathons because it has my absolute favorite pattern to hit in the entire game. You can see it right there. We're literally going to be doing that multiple times in the song. We have to hit literally everything at the same time. It's a Tatch song. He is not with Konami anymore. I think he works for Sega now, actually. I know he was doing a lot of stuff for the Sega rhythm games. But he was pretty prolific for a couple of years, and then he dropped off for medical issues. And then he came back around Sirius, the 17th version, and left again at the end of Tricoro support, 20. So he's been around for a minute, and he still makes music for other games.
I think he's doing freelance. I know that he's on Crossbeats. I know he was in Seven's Code, which is the other one I was working on recently that also shut down. But yeah, another well-known rhythm game artist that who got their start in Beatmania. Yes, this song is very well known for its full key smashes. As far as I can tell, the title, The Dirty of Loudness, is kind of a play on a licensed song from earlier versions of 2DX that we won't ever see again because it's a license that was paid for, but it was called The Beauty of Silence. It was trance. This is very much not trance.
That ending pattern is so satisfying to hit. It makes me grin every time.
Oh, it's killed my pass on that song more than once.
Just so you're aware, it does look like the hand cam did get knocked just slightly off alignment.
Let me tap out and deal with that.
It's not too bad. I just figured you'd want to know.
Can you still see the entire controller?
Yes.
Okay, I don't care then.
And if you got a second, I do have a $20 donation from Jason LaRouche. It says obligatory drum and bass donation.
We are only going to play 112 tonight. And honestly, the way that I've been playing tonight, this is going to be a coin flip as to whether or not I pass it, but I have to play at least one Useo song, so.
I'm just an absolute king of J-Core. Yeah, this is the only 12 we're seeing today, and again, 12 is the top of the difficulty, but again, there's such a wide range of 12s. I don't actually know where this would fit. According to an unofficial ranking site that rates them from S plus to F, this is a D tier 12, so it's in the easier third of 12s. And just as a note, I've been playing this game myself for 18 years, and I've maybe, on my best days, I've maybe passed half a dozen 12s, most on easy. It is an absolute accomplishment to even start to sniff this stuff.
BB2, we'll take that. Didn't expect to pass, didn't expect to PB. Double A spitting distance.
Ape.
That burst at the end, it kills so many hard clear attempts for players that are new to the 12s folder.
That's 1,800 notes in just about 2 minutes.
You'll also notice that I turned off random for Rampage. The ending, that is a very fast stream, and my reading ability is not quite that good. So it's easier for me just to do it the normal way because it's a relatively easy pattern. And we're going to play Rejection Girl non-random for the same reason. This is the charge note song in the game. It was one of the more dense charge note songs at the time that it came out as an Infinitas exclusive. About 2 years ago, I think is when it came out. It's a relatively old song at this point, but it was exclusive to this version. It got ported to the arcade version and Beastrover. Before the current arcade version. Oh, we're gonna play it. It stops.
Yeah, 2 years sounds about right, because I know this came out when I was doing Infinitas pretty heavily, which was about that time. It is notable again for being the first and certainly the most popular Infinitas exclusive. Konami is known for cycling songs around. Like, it's an exclusive, but they're going to put it in the arcade because they have it and it's cheaper than buying a new song. A lot of the other Infinitas exclusives, some of the song packs were crossovers from other Konami rhythm games. Like, we got a special pop and music crossover pack. So we've had some interesting stuff make its debut on the home version. If we have any announcements, this wouldn't be a bad time to take care of them.
Nothing new on my end. Just enjoying this wonderful showcase.
That is a massive raise.
Lots of PBs tonight. You love to see it.
Pretty close to KO on that one too, which is good. KO is one of my rivals. All these people on my screen are people that I'm friendly with, or like actually friends with. So you can kind of see where you are compared to other players. And KO is also a shoot-in. They're much closer to Kaiden than I am, so being that close to their personal best on a song, even if it's not something they've played lately, like, that's still a pretty good feeling for me. Like, it lets me know that I'm on track with someone who is about at the level that I should be tying with. So this is one of the more oddball duos in the game. Groovy and Nochin together, they do a lot of raga style jungle. So the Jamaican dancehall style stuff. And then they've kind of started to drift away from that a little bit, but they've kept like that dance hall style vocals. All their songs are very goofy and very good.
Okapi mentioned the rival system, and rivals have for a long time been an important part of rhythm games, and it's a great way to push yourself to try to improve. And as long as we've had network, we've had pretty good rival abilities. In Infinitas, one neat thing about rivals is that if you're mutual rivals with someone, you can send them scores, and they show up in a special rival play folder, and then you can play the songs and try to send them back. And this actually lets you play songs that you don't otherwise have access to, whether that's because you haven't unlocked them with bits or because you haven't bought the underlying song packs. So it actually lets people trade songs with each other while also trading scores with each other. So it's a pretty nice feature. Nice turntable section here. Turntable is its own beast in this game.
Yeah, turntable and charge notes are usually the two things that are a universal weakness for a lot of players. I actually am above average at turntable for my level, but I absolutely cannot hit charge notes to save my life, which is very, very frustrating.
I want to pop in here and see if we have any announcements now. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I was going to say, I do have a $53.30 donation by one Jam Mitch that just says Train Song.
Did I typo that? It was supposed to be 57.
It was 57. I might have just misspoken.
Well, since you said Train Song, I guess we... this is a running joke in the community. That I am obsessed with this song. I'm obsessed with this VJ. I'm obsessed with Hoshino Kanako because she's amazing and does nothing wrong, literally. Don't even watch the gameplay. Don't even watch the chart. Just watch the video. Like, the dancers are having the time of their life.
This is a great time to talk about all the videos in 2DX. So there's a lot of shared generic videos that go between songs, but there's a lot of unique videos, and some of them are incredibly unique. And when you're playing, you don't really get to watch them. So even if you play the game, hop on a stream and actually watch some of these videos sometimes. They are a thing.
A little bit of BB. I haven't played that at home in a while. Yeah, thank you for that donation. Like, I knew you were going to do it. Like, thank you for that.
I mean, I'm predictable if nothing else.
You also had the song list that I was going to play, so. Which means you also know that I'm about to play one of your personal favorites. Good old Sweet Radar. I'm just going to let the song speak for itself.
Yeah, one of my absolute favorites, and DJ Genki is a hardcore Tanoshi artist who have been less present in 2DX lately because they had their own music game, Waka. That was associated with the music label. The game is sadly going offline in another month or so. So they're starting to freelance for other games again, but you can see music from a lot of the Tanoshi artists. But yeah, one of my absolute favorite songs in the game, and there's thousands to choose from, no exaggeration, so that's saying a lot. Also a good time to point out that every game in this series has at least one soundtrack release, sometimes two, often which contain extended versions of some of the more popular songs on the games, such as this one, which has a 4-minute extended version on the OST.
Yeah, my favorite song in the series, which is not in the showcase, Hard Bass Festa, it actually has... it's like 5.5 minutes long, but the 5.5 minute long extended version is... It goes through about 3 minutes of sampling a bunch of other songs. It's just... like, the amount of love that the teams put into these games, like all of the beatmania games, like, I complain a lot on Twitter about some of their questionable business decisions. But the teams that work on these games genuinely do love them, and they love to reference each other's songs. They love to do throwbacks. They love to celebrate their own history. It's a really, truly special brand, is the only way to put it. Like, there's true camaraderie in that team. Anyways, speaking of songs and other beatmania games, this song has never been in Dance Dance Revolution. If it weren't for licensing issues, I would say they should probably put it in Dance Dance Revolution. If you played DDR in, its heyday, the early aughts, for those of us older folks, you're going to notice it sounds an awful lot like a lot of those old DDR songs.
Also the place where I get on my soapbox and mention a game that sounds like old DDR because it has the DDR music director as its music director. I wonder what that could be. Maybe Crossbeats. Same artist as the last song, actually.
Sticky pattern there. Damn it! What about the last scratch? That happens a lot. Like, you think the song is over, and you stop to take a breath and collect yourself, and then... whoops! Life bar go bye-bye. I have personally on-stream failed dozens of what would have been first clears by stopping to celebrate too early.
Yeah, if you're on a full combo pace, you can wait for the full combo splash, but you get a clear splash these days, don't you? A lot of games don't, but I think you do in 2DX now. And it helps with the fake out endings, which there are many of.
You know, if there is a clear splash, I haven't noticed it in Cast Hour.
I believe this song is a crossover from Poppin' Music, which is another key-sounded rhythm game, and K&H is wondering what a key sound is. So, one thing that's neat about some of Konami's rhythm games and 2DX and Poppin' Music in particular is that when you hit the keys, you actually make the music. If Okapi were to stop playing the song, you would hear a backing track, but you would not hear most of the sounds on top of it. And if she hits the notes early or late, you will hear the product of her hitting the sounds early or late. They will be off sync. So, like, whether you prefer this in your games or not is a matter of taste. I know that as I introduced K&H to rhythm games, that key sounds ended up not being your favorite mechanic, but you know, I still love 2DX. You are really creating the music when you play it. Main theme of Poppin' Marcus Berry. I am not as intimately familiar with Poppin'. I've definitely played it, but it is not a game that I've sunk as much time into as 2DX.
That minus 12 hurts so much. It's like right there.
Yeah, but plus 114.
Yeah, we'll take the plus 114, but like 15 more P grades, and that would have been a AAA.
And that's the rhythm game conundrum. This is so good, but still so far away, right?
Yeah. How are we doing on time?
I think we've got time for one more, if I'm looking at the timer right.
Dang, I got skipped. Alright, one more. I fully expect not to AA this. This is usually the song that I end off all my marathon. It's 3 of the, in my opinion, best artists in the franchise working together on one song. It's really fast. It's really poppy. It's really cute and aggressive. A serious time because it's my personal anthem. And
Let this one play out.
not that time matters in a rhythm game showcase, but I guess that's time. Oof. This game is a lot more physical than it looks. My shoulders are a little sore after all that.
Well, GG's, it was one heck of a showcase to watch and listen to. Where can people find out more about Beatmania 2DX if they wanted to get into it?
All right, look, since I dropped my keyboard and I can't turn the game down, I'm just going to do this and let it hover here. If you want to find out more about the game, we have a bunch of community resources. I've been working on kind of a primer for the game, which is what Jamich has been using for a lot of his notes. It has a lot of links to a lot of information and resources. The subreddit for beatmania games is r/beatmania. I hang out there, and a lot of other old heads hang out there, and people there are willing to answer questions. Come find us on Twitter. Jamich and I are both active on Twitter. If Shinji is still in the chat, Shinji is active on Twitter too. I'm Okapi573 over there. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Point you in the right direction for the games. If you live near a round 1, every round 1 has at least one 2DX cabinet and a lot of other rhythm game cabinets as well. So if you live in an area where you're lucky enough to have a round 1, then definitely go check this game out. It's a lot of fun. The community is very welcoming. The rhythm game community in general is very queer friendly. There's a lot of good representation, a lot of good role models, and a lot of very staunch allies. So it's a very, very safe community to be a part of. So yeah, just hit us up on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch if you want. I play this game on stream every now and then. I also play Guitadora Guitar, which is the game that Guitar Hero kind of copied its formula from and tweaked it around. I'm Okapi573 on Twitch. I couldn't get the same tag as Twitter. Jamich, do you have anything?
I think you covered most of it. Besides the reason we're here, abortion is healthcare. All reproductive healthcare is healthcare. And as I saw sidewalk chalk downtown today, and I think it's a very salient point, forced birth is state violence. And let's support reproductive healthcare for all who need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else to keep in mind too is the overturning of Roe v. Wade does not just affect people who are capable of giving birth. That also sets precedent to attack medical privacy in general. We've already seen people trying to use the precedent set by the overturn of Roe v. Wade to ramp up the attack on trans people as well. So, like, this affects more than just people who are able to give birth, people who need abortion care. Like, this is a very, very bad thing that could get a lot worse if we don't step in to do something about it. So this is a very good cause. Please, anything you can spare, throw them a couple bucks and spread the word. I think that's all I got, though.
Well, thank you again. This was a wonderful showcase to listen to and watch. And we're going to go ahead and toss it to intermission, and we'll be back shortly.